thoughts on Vols hoops? Better than last year. Not as good. Now, you've said from the beginning, before we get to the downs, that you think Tennessee can be as good as last year. I think that's crazy because Dalton Connect is a once-in-a-generational type of player. So, Caleb, tell me why you think Tennessee can be better than last year despite losing a guy that we compared to Bernard King.
I never compared him to Bernard King.
No,
I never went that far.
No. We said he was the best player since Bernard King.
That was still debatable, by the way. But okay.
Yeah, but it was a worthy conversation. Don't tell me it was absurd.
No. So I said this year's team could be bigger. They could be more versatile, and they could have more scoring options. So far, that hasn't fully proven itself out, but I think largely because Chaz Lanier is still getting settled into the role. By the way, he is this year's Dalton Connect in terms of go-to scorers.
Got a problem with Chaz Lanier, but I'm going to get to that.
The actual player profile of Darlington Dubar is the same as Dalton Connect, and he still hasn't gotten on the court yet for personal reasons. So we're not even seeing this team at full strength yet, not to mention JP Estrella's playing banged up. Igor Miličić Jr. is trying to fit his way into the offense. So while I don't know if there's anybody on this team as good as Dalton Connect, I think there are more options overall. There are players close to Dalton Connect. And on top of that, I think they're better fits for this team than what Santi Vescovi was for Tennessee last year. So there's not that liability. And I hate to say that, but I think that's a big part of it. And then the other big part, I think Felix Opera, the interior presence, is mentally tougher than Jonas Adu. And by the way, speaking of that, Arkansas lost to Baylor the other night, and Razorback fans are already questioning if they made the right move with John Calipari.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you, Adu is a better offensive player than they have in the post.
Wait, the Tennessee has?
Yes.
Igor Miličić Jr. and JP Estrella are both very solid fundamentally in the post. Igor
JP Estrella's got a foot issue, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, right, that's the thing.
All right, Coop, what do we do?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
First down.
Coop here. First down.
All right, after the win over Louisville, just 2 games, but who is the Vols' go-to scorer right now?
Chaz Lanier. Clear-cut Chaz Lanier. He knows how to get into the lane. He knows how to manufacture points. Now, recently he's been red hot shooting the ball from 3. I'm not naive. I know that you never should get excited about something like that because there will be a game where they're not shooting the ball well from 3. And the question is, can they still manufacture points? I think he proved in the exhibition against Indiana he can. So Chaz Lanier is their go-to scorer.
Here's my problem with Chaz Lanier. Has he proven to you that he can take it to the rack like Dalton Connect last year?
He did in the exhibition against Indiana.
Oh, it's an exhibition. But has he really proven it to you?
No, not consistently. But he's not going to have to either, even though he's going to be the go-to scorer.
Okay. Here's my problem. Around the key, he has a perfectly fine jump shot. When he's beyond the 3-point line, I want you to watch this. He tends to push the ball instead of getting it up over his head in his release. And I think what you're going to see is defenders start to walk up on him and try to take away the 3. So then it's more blockable. It's more defendable. Can he take it to the rack? Now, that may be something that Rick Barnes can fix, but I've got concerns just early over Chaz Lanier and his release. And I'm going to stay on that until, and I want you to watch it now and tell me if you agree or disagree, but I'm going to stay on that until I see it either get better or see him consistently make shots over those guys.
I don't think he has had to put it on the floor yet. The point you bring up, actually, it's a great one because if you remember, that was the biggest thing Bruce Pearl worked with Chris Lofton on from his sophomore to his junior year, was you got to put the ball on the floor. And I'll never forget, it was actually against Memphis. John Calipari had, I want to say it was Robert Dozier, just had him all on Chris Lofton. And Chris said, okay, I'll put the ball on the floor and go to the basket every time. And he did it. Now, unfortunately for Chris Lofton, he wasn't fast enough to be able to do that in the NBA.
Now, I will tell you, I know this because I shot the ball like that outside. It's because I didn't have good leg strength because I was in an accident when I was a kid. It's a long story. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm good. But I didn't have good leg strength. So I think he has
good leg strength. That's like crucial.
I mean, I think he has fine leg strength, so I think it's fixable, but he's going to have to be willing to change his shot during a season, and I don't think that's good. Now, we're going to get to Darlington Dubar. I got another issue with Darlington Dubar after the people that I've talked to that have seen him practice a lot. He's got a really bad habit of dropping the ball to his left, and it's just a glitch. Maybe he can get over that. But even when he catches the ball in a catch and shoot, let's say to his right, he will then drop the ball to his left and then bring it up. That delays the release. So I'm just telling you early on, these are fixable things if they're willing to fix it. But I've got two concerns about Tennessee's theoretical scorers that are going to be able to fill in for Dalton Connect. So those are two fundamental issues I have. All right, what down is it, Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Is the defense back to form after the Louisville win?
Yes, I think the defense is back to form. And I said they would be. The first game against Gardner-Webb, that was their biggest concerning sign, was that the defense wasn't there. But look, whatever else faults Rick Barnes has usually comes on the offensive droughts end. The defense usually gets it together. I don't know of a Tennessee basketball team under Rick Barnes or a Texas team, someone could correct me, that followed him at Texas, that failed to make noise because their defense was subpar in March. I've never heard of one. Have you?
No, I'm not worried about Rick Barnes' defense, even if they were to give up 120 points in their next game. I would just say that's a bad game, a lot of turnovers, they'll be fine. That doesn't ever concern me. Nathaniel says, which would be my concern, he's not going to change his shot mid-season. That's my concern. But you do have a month of really semi-meaningless basketball before you get to the SEC turn or SEC schedule.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down. How
concerning are Zakai Zeigler's 11 turnovers? And I want to add in there, I just didn't think in the first half, and I've been called a Zeigler critic before, I just didn't think he had a lot of juice. And to me, he has to be the juice for this team. And especially in the first half, he had, 9 turnovers in the first half? And I didn't think had a lot of juice.
Here's why it's not concerning. First, let me say the broad picture of Zakai Zeigler. You ask about the go-to guy that manufactures points and goes to the rack. Zakai Zeigler can do that. And I don't know if you noticed, Dave, but while his turnovers allowed Louisville to keep it closer than they should have when they made it close in the second half, Zakai Zeigler was the one who took the ball and almost told everybody else to get out of the way. And that's a really good position to have a player like that for Tennessee. I'm not concerned about Zakai Zeigler's turnovers largely because, again, I think without Dubar and with JP Estrella banged up, which we're going to talk about, and with Igor Milicic still trying to work his way into this offensive scheme, I don't think Tennessee's offense, their half-court offense, is as free-flowing as they want it to be at this moment. I think once it is, that still would have been a bad game by Zeigler, don't get me wrong. He still would have had too many turnovers, but it's one thing to have a bad game where you turn it over 5 times as opposed to 11 times, right? And I think it would have been closer to 5.
Yeah, and while I was very critical of Zakai Zeigler, I wasn't a great fan of his 2 years ago. Obviously, he won me over last year, and I will give him the benefit of the doubt that he is going to be just fine. So our poll question is this, if you want to take part. Thoughts on Vols hoops? Better than last year, not as good. We'll have the results, 4 downs, brought to you by Medicare Misty.
I've been in business actually 19 years this year. I've been in the community since 1993. You're getting a lot of information. Unlike when you were working, they made the choice for you. Now you have to make the choice. Come to us and let us help you make it easy. Call Medicare Misty, MedicareMisty.com or 423-777-5577. Let us help them sleep at night.
And we call her Medicare Misty.
Answer to the poll question, 59% said Tennessee basketball will not be as good as last year, which was an Elite 8 run and winning the SEC regular season better than last year, 43%. What down, Coop?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
All right. How much will this team improve with Dubar back and Estrella fully healthy?
Significantly so. Estrella is an offensive weapon, and they're not able to use him the way they want to play an inside-out game. And Darlington Dubar, again, is built like Dalton Connect. And he may have some certain issues, Dave, but what you're talking about is nothing that's not coachable. And what I've said from the start with these type of players, the one and done for guys that are seniors, they're the most coachable people possible in college basketball. Is that fair to say? Like, they're going to do whatever Rick Barnes tells them to do. They're not going to push back on it the way a run and done freshman might.
You would think so. You would think so. I hope that they came to be coached, because the fundamentals in the shooting needs to be coached with Lanier and Dubar. And I think there can be some serious improvements made. I'm kind of like our poster earlier. I think it was Smoky Mountain Red, that I have trouble believing that that's going to happen during the season. It might, but we'll see. And it needs to happen really not during the season, but by January. I remind you that yes.
Sorry, Derek had a joke, so I just have to throw into it. They should probably hire Billy Napier. He would focus on these details we're talking about, Dave.
That's right. He would be great on that. Now, they might not all show up to the game, and they would lose consistently.